everybody. Hey, welcome to the Miss Lillians Paint page. My name is Debbie Tona. I am with Tona Transformations. I have a beautiful, gorgeous brick and mortar store in Nampa, Idaho, where we went from summer to fall in one day. Winter, actually, not even fall. We went from summer to winter. So the last time I was on here in a tank top on, just last week, it was 80, and then it went to the 50s, and now it's just cold. I hate this time of year. For us, we get like 3 weeks of like 70-degree weather, and then it just goes cold. So hop on here. Let me know where you're from. Hi, Ronnie. Thanks for joining me. I am streaming live on 3 different platforms. I am on YouTube for Tona Transformations, on Miss Lillians page, and on my own page. So if you see me answering comments to people that you don't see their comments, it's because they're on the other source. So feel free to chime in. Let me know where you guys are watching from. And let me know if you have questions, because I will try to keep up. I will be looking down. That's why you'll see me look down every once in a while, because my laptop is here so I can see the questions. It's 80s today, Ronnie, where you live in Massachusetts. God, I do this every time. I can't even remember where I live, let alone everybody else. But yeah, I know you live back east. No, we're freezing, like cold. Like I got layers. I got the under long sleeve shirt, this one on. It was really cold this morning. Not so bad anymore, not like freezing, but when you go from wearing shorts one day to having to do this the next, you're like, Massachusetts, and you guys have the pretty, Ronnie's tuning in from Massachusetts. You have the pretty fall leaves. Ours are already gone. We don't have fall leaves because we don't have as many trees as you do. I have a set of these stacking tables. There's 3 of them. I'm only going to do 2 of them today. What I am going to attempt, now I haven't decided all the way if I'm going to make them all match. I'm kind of on the fence about it. Sometimes I like to, and do I sell them individually? Do I sell them as a set, right? It's like, maybe I price them individually, but if you buy all 3, it's this price. If you buy 1, it's this price. My idea is to kind of make them similar, but not exactly the same. So if they do stack in, one under the other, you know what I'm talking about, right? With stacking tables, they fit, one fits under the other one, and then there's one bigger one. So they all fit underneath each other. And so I'm always have a dilemma. Do I paint them all the same? What do you guys think? Would you paint them all similar and then sell them as a set, or would you paint 3 different ones? Because I thought too, if you wanted to like use it as a display, you could stack one on top, like one, you could paint one and then you could put one on top. I'm doing a show here in a month or so. And I thought, how cute would this to be like as a display to put my stuff on, right? I don't know. I always go back and forth. These are super old. Check out the tag underneath them. Can you see it? It's a dresser. It's a Italian maker. I looked them up. They were from like the early 1900s. Franco Tacci, Florence, Italy. All 3 of them, each one, let me unplug that. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Each one has a tag on the bottom of it that says that maker's name. So, Italian furniture maker. So something that is old that we will make more modern, and something that you will want to put in your home. So here's my idea. Texture. Similar, so they all coordinate, Ronnie says. It's not a bad idea. I wanted to create some texture. I wanted to give it like an old world finish. So what I tried to do is get one dry over here, so that way I could start on this one, go to that one, and come back to this one. So we don't have to sit here and watch me dry paint. Because as you know, or maybe you don't know, but texture, when you add a texture medium to your paint, it does take a little bit longer to dry. So I generally will paint them and then wait for 3 or 4 hours and then do my second and third coats. So we're going to start out with my favorite Miss Lillians color. It's called Stella Luna. It is a gorgeous, vibrant blue. I actually have it in my little container here because I use it so much. I'm going to pour some of it into a container. Look at how beautiful. It's not really a navy. It's got a little bit of a lighter color than a navy. I know the camera is not showing the true color. Then I grabbed Miss Lillians Texture Magic. What this is, it is a medium that you add to paint. And by adding it to your paint, it makes your paint thicker and allows you to create a texture-like finish. So we're just going to add, and there are no measurements. You just got to kind of wing this. So if you're somebody that needs exact measurements, I'm sorry, but I can't do that for you. You just got to add some paint, add some texture medium, texture magic, stir it up. If it is not thick enough, add some more texture medium. If it's too thick, add some more paint. It's as simple as that. It's not an exact science. And so it's too thin, right? Let me point this down so you can see. It's too thin for me. Now, if I wanted to wait for like half an hour or so, it would thicken up. But I ain't got that kind of time. So I'm going to add a little bit more, a little bit at a time. Keep mixing. I think this is going to be the right consistency. I prefer it to be like a brownie mix consistency. We all know what brownies are. We've all made them. We've all licked the bowl, right? So a little bit thicker on the thicker side. And it doesn't matter if you say run out of it and you don't have like when you mix colors of paint and you run out and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't get the same mix. If you run out of this, so that's what I want. That's the consistency I want, right? Thicker. She will be thick. I don't like my thighs thick. They're like that. So if it's hotter, if it's a hot day, this stuff will harden up quicker. So if you didn't mix enough and like say you're out of texture magic and you just had a little bit left, go set it outside in the sun. It'll thicken up real quick. You can save this stuff if you make too much of it, because generally I will make way too much. I like to make it in small batches. And like I said, if I run out, I can just make some more. It's still going to match. Texture is one of those things that doesn't really matter what it looks like on your piece because it's different on everything, right? It doesn't have to be exactly the same. So it's not like mixing two colors. You can run out and mix some more and be just fine. I like to kind of use a brush that has a harder top. And generally the natural bristle brushes kind of have a harder, like a stippling brush or a stencil brush. Can you see that? So by stippling it, it is giving me, let's do something I didn't. Let's flip this over. When you guys paint tables, much easier to paint with them upside down than it is with them right side up. So we're just going to kind of go around and stipple these, right? This is going to add the texture. When you're wanting to layer paint, texture is your friend. I love texture. It hides a multitude of sins. Like, hey, Desi, a lot. So if you start with your table legs up, not always feasible if you have a big table, obviously, but this one's nice because it's easy. And just go down. It's easier to see what you're doing than trying to do it with the other way. So I am just stippling this, and you're going to make sure that you get inside too. And this is going to dry. Like I say, normally, unless you force it to dry, it should take an hour, 2 hours. It just depends on your climate, what time of year it is. Right now it's cold. In the summertime, this stuff dries really fast for me. But right now, not so much. So you get the idea, right? We're going to put a layer of this all the way around. We're going to let it dry. And since I was smart enough, and I have the same table sitting next to me. I already did that one. And it's dry. So we can do the next step. I was thinking ahead today. Look at me being a planner. Don't expect it next time. because it usually doesn't happen. Right? Crazy. So just getting it on there. I'm just going to keep spinning it around in a circle. I'm going to do it till we run out of paint. I love Stella Luna. It is my favorite color of Miss Lillian. The favorite blue. Like there's a blue that we all love, right? This is it for me. It looks so good. It's so rich and dark. Now remember with Miss Lillians, there's no need to seal this paint because it has a built-in top coat, which is fabulous because when you add all this texture, it's great to have it already built in. And so it dries nice and hard. And when you do add the texture medium to your paint, it makes it even harder. Your finish is rock hard. This stuff is not coming off yet. I personally always scuff sand my pieces prior to painting them. That's just me. It's not always necessary, but that's just what I do. Not everybody agrees with me, but you know, do you, boo, and I'll do me. But I always do scuff sand all my pieces of furniture. That's just how I feel it needs to be done. It takes a few minutes, cleans off any debris, any oil, anything like that off your pieces. So that paint that I mixed up is just about done and just about the right amount. I may have to mix a little bit more up to do this other inside leg, but I wanted to, now normally I would have to sit here and blow dry this thing and let it dry. Since I have two examples of the same thing, we don't have to. This one over here I did earlier and it's already dry, so we can use our second color. Let me just finish putting this on. So this is the base. And I like to use the dark color first. I usually do that. I usually go with the dark to lighter. But you can reverse it. You don't have to always do that. So I'm pretty much out of paint. And did you see how far that paint went? Like it did all four sides. And I'm going to scrape just the rest off. Now, you want to wash your brushes or put these in water and not let them sit out because this stuff will dry super hard and it will make it impossible to come out. So don't just let it sit, you know, out. So we're going to put this one to the side. Okay. And grab the other one that's already dry. And let me go put this one in front of the fan because I'm going to need it in a minute. So give me 2 seconds to go throw it in front of my fan so that it can dry quickly. And we can do the next step that we're going to do. Hold on, I forgot to plug my fan in, of course. 2 seconds. Sorry. Intermission. Break. Let me just plug it in. Okay. All right. Got that plugged in. Now I did this table earlier and let the texture dry. Hi Kim, how's it going? Hey Stace. You haven't seen that color before? It's my favorite. I know, right? When I plan ahead, Desi, look at me go. It doesn't happen often. It only happened because I have 3 of the same tables. So can you see, hi Cindy, the texture on there? Trying not to get the camera to like, and I didn't like make it totally cover. So I can actually touch this and feel the texture. Can you see it? Okay. Texture, has anybody tell me, yes, no, maybe so. Have you played with texture before in your painting arsenal? I love it. I love texture. I would texture everything if I could. I pulled out a couple other colors. So I'm up on the fence. I don't know which ones I want to use. So I pulled up this really warm Chanel. It's kind of a taupey brown. This one, which I've never used, Water Spigot. That's so cute. It's a very soft aquamarine. And then I pulled up this one, French Country. So in keeping with the cues of what I'm going with. I am thinking, that maybe I do like kind of a blend on this piece. We want it to be old country. Now, I don't think I need to put any more texture, do I? Sometimes I'll add some more. Let's just try it without it. Let's just try a little bit of this. That's pretty. Water spigot. Chanel. Hold on, it's glued shut because you know what? Whenever I put my paint away, I never put Vaseline around the rim. If you put Vaseline around the rim of your jars, you won't have to use your big muscles to get it off. A little bit of Chanel. Chanel, I can think of Chanel as, handbags. And then let's try them all. Let's see which one plays the best. That'd be awesome if you guys would share this video, which from whenever you're watching from, of course, YouTube doesn't, you can copy the link and send it. But Facebook, you can do that too. So I'm going to use a smaller brush that I have. And so here's our color palette, right? French Country, Chanel, and Water Spigot. Pretty colors. And they will blend really well together. So my thought is, thanks, Desi. Thanks for sharing. To take some of the colors and just kind of see what happens. I'm going to turn it upside down again. Painting tables from the upside down is the easiest way to get them to really paint easier. Let's start with a little bit of the Chanel and then dip into the French Country. I kind of want the blue to show through too of the Stella Luna, using it as my base. And then throw in a little bit of the Water Spigot. Like I said, I'm just not sure where I'm going with this. But the more layers you put on, the more, and I'm just doing like a tappy instead of like a swoopy, because with texture, I like to do a tappy because it helps. And by the way, I should be showing you how much paint I'm not taking. I'm dipping a little bit and then kind of offloading it. So when you see my brush, you hardly see any color on it because I don't want to saturate it. I want the colors underneath to shine through. Hi, Anita. Right? That's how you get that layered look. Does it sell at higher prices? So Anita's asking me if a textured piece sells at a higher price. I don't know. I mean, it's just a different look. So I don't think that's really a determination in why I texture or don't texture. It's a different look instead of just a fluid look, right? It's a softer look that you can do, rougher look, not a softer look, more of a layered look. And then I think when this is all dry, adding some of Miss Lillian's like truffle glaze or dark brown glaze over this would enhance it even more. So that's kind of where I'm going to head to when I'm done, is adding a glaze over the top. Can you guys see how it's starting to layer up the texture? Right? Oh, probably a little too much work to do like on all these legs if you think about it. But when you're just tapping, intermixing 3 colors and barely putting any on your brush, I'm not saturating my brush. I think the hardest thing for people to remember when they first learn to paint is that you don't need a ton of paint. See that? Offload it. Meaning offloading means kind of just working it into your brush or putting it like on a paper towel or something to kind of tap it off. And then just kind of mixing the color in a little at a time so that it starts to look like it's a super old finish. Does that make sense? Questions? Can you guys tap a paintbrush? Can you? I taught a class last weekend, candlestick class. I told them, if you cannot tap a paintbrush, we cannot be friends. Because seriously, that's all I'm doing is tapping a paintbrush. And the thing is, paint offload, meaning wipe it on something. I offload it right into my container so it all stays in here, right? And then I keep mixing the colors together so then they're all blending anyhow. Whoops. And then I just did something. Look at what I just did. I went to offload it and I didn't look down and I stuck it right into the other paint. You do not want that much paint on your brush. So now I'm going to just wipe it on the table and get it all off. Because if you put that much paint on your brush, it's going to be too globby. And so that's the great thing about really high quality paint like Miss Lillians is that more is not always the way it needs to go. Lesser is better sometimes, right? And then just keep grabbing those other colors. We're kind of going for that stone look, right? Who doesn't like a good textured stone look on something? You want something that looks like it's old, old, old. That's how you do it. So let me see so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Dipping it and then tapping it off. Now, we're going to add crackle to this to see what it does because I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen. I don't know. It might work, it might not. And if it doesn't, then we just keep going on, right? So little tiny bits. Can you even see the paint on my brush? No, you can't, but guess what? It's there. You can see it now. And the thing is that I'm not trying to cover all of the blue, the dark blue. I want the dark blue to shine through. And then I'm going to come in while the paint is wet with the other color. The secret to this is using complementary colors to do your piece, okay? And offloading it so that your brush is relatively dry, but enough to give it that really cool granite, marble, soft, rough, all the things all in one, right? Find your complementary colors. I find that the dark blues go great with like the lighter, like the mocha brown, dark browns, coffee colored kind of dark browns. Go back over if you need to add more. Can you guys see that? Now imagine this. I don't know if we'll be able to do it. We might if I can get this one to dry. If we put a dark glaze over this, it's going to deepen everything. Hey, Chastity, how's it going? So lots and lots and lots of fun. So let's go over the colors we're using again. We're using French Country, Chanel, and Water Spigot on top of Stella Luna, a base of Stella Luna, okay? And we're taking our brush, we're dipping it in paint, and then we're kind of offloading it right here. Meaning we're making the paint really disperse into our brush so that we don't have a ton of paint on our brush. Whoops, let's see what I'm doing. Right? So fun. And we just keep doing that all the way around. We can do it on the top. We can do it on every leg. We can add color. We could add more blue on here. So say it's too light. We could take the Stella Luna and add it back in. You're not a huge fan of blues? You know what, Des? I used to hate blue until like recently. And now like my kitchen cabinets, I'm like, I want to paint them this Stella Luna color. Gosh, I'm in love with this color. Like, this should be my brand color. So it's just kind of muting her down by going over and doing our little tap, tap, tapping and just adding little paint at a time. Not a lot, because we want the texture of the original color to shine through. So you could reverse it. You could do a light color as your base with dark colors on top. It's do what you want to do. I generally do tend, though, I will say, to go darker to lighter, because I like the fact that I can lighten it up just a little bit here and there and make it look very textured. And if the wood doesn't all get covered, so be it, because you know what? It all kind of just melds together in the long run. Who wants to try to do this? Who's tried texture? There's a bunch of different texture mediums. Of course, Texture Magic is Miss Lillians' brand. It's super fun to do. It's super fun to create with. And it works and gives the ability to, I forgot to paint this leg back here. You see that one? I missed that one. So when these legs have, you know, 4 sides, or these have like 3 sides, I always miss one, right? So now, oh, I missed another one. See it back there? Story of my life. I have actually finished like an entire buffet and went to go do something and deliver it. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I forget one side of that leg? So I always am like, how did I do that? Are you going home? Okay, I love you. My daughter's like, but anyhow, look at how fun this is. You guys, check out how cool the texture is on this piece, right? See how it just kind of gives you that cool, warm look. Now I can go through with a piece of sandpaper and sand the edges and bring that warm wood back through. I will tell you that my plan, I believe, I'm not sure yet, this is pretty much already dry because I hardly put any paint. You guys, I never put extra paint in this container, not at all. I can add some glaze over the top, which will really deepen, darken, and antique this piece. So I'm going to go put it in front of the fan to see if I can make sure it's super dry, because glaze will kind of reactivate your paint. So let me go grab the one that I had over there. I have a different plan for the top, which I'm going to show you in 2 seconds. So what do you guys think so far? Lots of fun, right? So this is the one we started with. This is the one that we did. And I put it in front of my fan, and it is actually pretty dry. Whoops, I forgot I need to. Sorry. Okay. Luckily, these tables are really light and easy to maneuver. So what I thought I would try on the top, let me raise you up so you can see I'm just stand up, is I thought I would try to put a crackle on the top and see what we achieve with that. Have you guys tried crackle? You just tried it on a tray, Ronnie, the texture, right? It's fun. So if you have a piece that has lots of flaws and like veneer that's missing, you know how you get those pieces and like the veneer is all coming up, because these are all veneer pieces. You can add texture to that and hide it. Make it look like it's part of the piece. Brilliant. Don't try to take all that veneer off. You will hate yourself. You'll get splinters. You'll hate it. So what I want to do is try, I haven't tried this yet. I haven't used this product from Miss Lillians. I've used it from other brands, but let's try this one. Crackle Medium. So I read the instructions. Like you, I'm going in blind. You paint it on. The thicker you put it on, the bigger your cracks. You let it dry, and then you paint over the top, and it should crack, in theory. Well, let's give it a try. So we're going to do it on this one. I already have it on the top of this piece, and it's dry, but I want to show you how you apply it. I'm going to grab a small brush. Hold on, my brush has too much water in it. I just washed it because I used it early. All right. Look at how pretty it is. It's a thick product. You tried the crackle with other brands? Yeah, me too. So I was pleasantly surprised when we had this in our arsenal. So basically, you're going to paint it on, and I'm going to go right over the crackle that I already put, I mean, the texture, right? Talk about another layer of coolness that you can put on here. I'm going to put it on thick. I like big cracks. Don't tell it. God, if you were just listening to this, you'd be like, what the hell are you listening to? Oh, that lady likes big cracks. What is wrong with her? So we're going to put it on and you're going to let it dry. Now, I'm not going to force dry it. I already did this other table earlier. Like I said, look at me planning ahead. I get an A for today. I just was like, ooh, I have those cool tables back there. Let's paint them. And this forces me to get stuff done. Like a lot of times when I do lives, I will do projects and then I'll start them and then I don't finish them. That's it. And then just let it dry. It says on here to wait till it gets to like a tacky consistency. I'm going to put this to the side. Actually, I'm going to set it right there. So I put the crackle on this one earlier. Let's see. Do I have to stand up to paint this? It's too tall for me to see. I'm going to have to paint it. I'm going to put you down here. So here's my thought. When you put on this crackle, I put it on this piece earlier, okay? I already did it. There we go. So you need to put, like, I can do one color over the top or a blend of colors over the top. And then as it dries, it should, in theory, crack. I think I'm just kind of going to add a little bit more of this paint. I want it to be really seen, so I'm going to use the lighter colors. You can't really mess with crackle a lot. You're supposed to, in most of them. I don't know if it's true on this one too. Maybe that somebody, Chastity, have you used the crackle? Chastity's a content creator for Miss Lillians. Can I work it a lot? Or is it just like stroke over it and you got to quit? You can't work it a lot. A lot of times with crackle, you cannot like keep going back and forth with it, which makes sense, right? So I'm going to grab a bigger brush so I can cover the surface. Find me a sticker for my paint, for my planning skills. Yeah, I'm a good girl, right? I get the good girl sticker today, does he? I'm going to use a brush that I can put a lot of paint on at once. I'm just going to kind of mix my colors together. My Chanel, I'm going to do them all kind of like a blend. Not purposely doing it though. The thing with crackle is you have to like put a layer on and leave it and not like overwork it, which can't really blend unless you're like overworking it. It's just a weird thing. So I'm just kind of dipping my brush in all the colors that I have here. Looks like stripes now though, doesn't it? I don't want to have stripes. Because in theory, it should start to crack pretty quickly. Because you don't want to keep painting it when it starts to crack. Let's see if it works. And if it doesn't work, you know what? I'm fine with that too, because I got to say, I kind of like this look. I'm just going to feather this out real quick because it looks pretty. It said you could speed it up with a heat gun. Guess what I got? Yeah, I get an A+ for today, Des. You know, and I planned all this at 3 o'clock. So right before I came live. So pretty good for me. Okay. I don't see it working yet. And I may have not put it on right too. Like, oh no, I'm not plugged in. Why am I not working? Oh, duh. I'm unplugged. Let me get up. Line over this furniture right here. You know what's fun is you guys never see like behind the scenes crap that we do like to get to do a live. There is so much junk in there. That I'm stepping over to put a hole right through my Let's see if it cracks. I do like the texture that it added, though. It added a lot of texture on top of the texture that was already there. So in theory, it should crack. Now, I might have dried the crackle too much because it said to put it on when it was tacky, and it's not tacky. So maybe the crackle dried too much because I don't see it cracking. So, you know, we as content creators and you as consumers, we go through the same thing, right? Sometimes products work, but if we read the instructions right, so I guess I can't wait for it to dry all the way because I actually don't see it cracking at all. Help. But I also see it looking beautiful. So to me, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't crack. Because some of them you have to dry, and that one said wait till it was tacky, which it's not cracking. I guess I let it dry too much. So let's grab the other one that we have over here and see if we can try it. If it's just tacky. And I can't brush paint over this. Look at this. This one's a bit too wet. Well, it's not tacky, it's wet. I'm gonna force. I bet you I can't force dry it. I bet you that's what I messed up on. If you can't force dry this stuff. So let's see. Let's play together. And then I will have to find out. But anyhow, the theory is it should crack. But the instructions did say to wait until it was tacky. But I waited until it was dry to the touch. Okay, Marilyn. Thank you. Marilyn, question. On the crackle, this one didn't crack. The one that I did back here. Now, I put it in front of a fan and I let it dry. Did I do that wrong? Can I ask you for your expertise? And force drying it, is it bad for it? Can you tell me? Because there's crackle on here right now, pretty thick, and it said to wait till it was tacky. It's getting there. So, how? We're all going to learn together. You know, sometimes the best things happen when you make mistakes because then you learn from them. And then we can, you know, you guys always say, you just got here. No, that's okay. Marilyn, so my question is this. I added crackle finish to the big one behind here, this one right here. And then I painted over the top, but I didn't get crack. I did it over a texture finish. I noticed that it said that it should be tacky. How tacky are we talking? This still feels wet to me. I mean, I guess it's kind of tacky. And then post a paint. First coat of paint, dry completely. Did that. Check. I did a coat of paint with texture in it and let it dry completely. Then I put the crackle down and I let it dry completely. It was not tacky. It was dry. And then I painted over the top, which it should crack, but it didn't. Shoot. What'd I do? Help a sister out. Marilyn, help a sister out. Probably trying to type on your phone, right? Are you driving? She's like, quit asking me questions. All right, you guys. So we're going to try it. We're going to try to go over the top with the paint. Because I read the jar. This is my first time using it. So I'm just like you guys. I'm just like the consumer on this one. Trying to figure it out. I think I might have dried it too much. That's probably why. So this is still, okay, let's see what Marilyn says. Marilyn owns the company. Add crackle, let it dry to tacky, which is still wet. That's what I did wrong, okay? So yeah, I would have I did read that, but I didn't follow it. Okay, so it's still wet. So I guess brush it over. I'm trying. It's harder to do because, oh, I see. Look at that. It's still wet. Tacky, not wet, tacky. Like not all the way dry, which is harder to kind of maneuver, but I can see it cracking. See how it's given a, that's interesting. So I have never used this crackle medium before, but I'm intrigued by the application of it. So now we all know not to let, so it's not one of those that you can do like and walk away and come back to, right? You've got to kind of just stay on it. Now I can take my dryer and, oh, that's kind of cool looking. Look at that. Talk about a beachy look. Be careful to mix the paint coat onto the crackle medium. Float it. I'm floating. I'm trying. So now I'm going to try to dry it to see if I can get bigger cracks. Because the paint will react with the crackle. This is cool looking. I like this. So I'm glad I made the first mistake so that you guys could find out what not to do. Don't be like me. Now I'm going to force dry it because I think that's going to make it crack probably bigger and more extreme. That's my guess. How cool is that? So I put my first coat was a texture coat, which helped with it even being bumpier, which I really dig. This is what the look I wanted the whole piece to be, right? Fun. Fun, fun, fun. What do you guys think? Fun, right? So the paint is still wet. I can see it. And it does say on the jar, if you want to force dry it like this, it will pull the top paint coat to crack. Well, thank you, Marilyn. Always helps to get information from the powers that know, the powers that be. How fun is this? Oh my gosh. So it's still wet, and I can see it drying, and I see it starting to do its little crackly thing. I'm sure probably it would be smartest to just let it do it on its own. Instead of forcing it, they would probably give it a cooler crack, but I see them starting to appear. Very fine little fissures of cracks. This is super cool looking, you guys. What do you guys think about this finish? Are you liking it? I'm kind of digging it. And like I said, my tables, I am not trying to make them exact. So here's the first one that we did. Here's the first finish. Looks totally different, right? But as you can see, since I didn't read the instructions properly and I let it dry all the way, it didn't crack. But what it did was I had the texture underneath, and so it allowed the crackle medium on top of my texture to give it a really cool looking texture. Then on this one, we are still cracking. I'm going to keep turning it because it's, look at how cool it looks now. So basically, you just have to kind of put the paint on and let the paint do its thing, right? Let it kind of just flow and do its thing. It's gonna, because it's still super wet right here. I can see where I put it on really thick, but it did add that kind of beachy, worn, vibey look. What do you guys think? I think it's cool. So you don't want to overwork your top coat. Easier said than done, really. And that's the hardest part, right? Because I'm so used to always blending and adding paint and blending and adding paint. So you just got to put your paint on and walk away. The waiting is the hardest part. You're right. It's like watching water boil, right? It's like, okay. So it's kind of like, you know, any other thing. But I think both are a success. And I think both look stunning because, like I said earlier, we're painting them to coordinate, not necessarily to match. Now, what I could do, if I decided that I want it to be more like this, I could paint Stella Luna over the top again because this layer, the first layer, is a textured layer. And then I could follow the instructions like I should have in the first place and put it over, which I might just do because I am absolutely loving this look right here. absolutely loving. So I could just paint this whole thing over again, let the Stella Luna dry, then apply my crackle and not wait till it's dry and add this paint. I think I will do that because I'm digging this beachy warm. Doesn't it look like it's been like sitting for eons? Yep. Oh, so Marilyn said add another layer. The only thing is that then it would just pull from this color. If I added another layer of crackle over the top, then it would just pull from this color. I want the dark blue to pull through. So I think what I'll do is paint it all blue again, Stella Luna, paint this whole thing, let it dry, put my crackle on, then do my paint. Oh my gosh, this was so fun. And you know what? Thanks for learning with me because we don't know everything about everything, right? And that's the best thing is about coming on to these lives. We're not perfect and we just try to teach. And you know what? That's how we all learn, right? Making mistakes is the only way to learn. I make mistakes every day and I learn something every day that I never knew. So thank you, Marilyn, for the help on this. I love the look at, we hardly used like a tablespoon out of there. So just seal this up and use it for your next project. Super fun. I think we're going to keep going with these and I will post pictures. I'll try to post pictures next Wednesday of the finished product. I try to do it the week after. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you have questions, post them in the comments. And as always, go out and be fabulous. Go home, hug those babies, and love one another. Okay, guys, my name is Debbie Tona. I am with Tona Transformations out of Nampa, Idaho, and I will see you guys again soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Make it a great day.